From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said the Alianza para sa Bagong Pilipinas or APBP senatorial slate offers clear solutions to drive national progress, not divisive or aggressive rhetoric. During Alianza's campaign rally at Plaza Libertad in Tacloban City, Leyte Province last Friday, the president highlighted the administration-backed senatorial slate's commitment to progress, peace, and improving Filipino lives. President Marcos rejected intimidation and inflammatory speech in politics, stressing that governance should focus on results. The chief executive also emphasized diplomacy in defending Philippine sovereignty as he stood firm in his commitment to prevent foreign power from taking even a square inch of the country's territory. President Marcos Jr. made it clear that his administration and the Alianza-backed senatorial candidates reject violent enforcement measures in the fight against illegal drugs and crime. This is a notable departure from the previous Duterte administration's bloody drug war, which human rights groups claim resulted in thousands of extrajudicial killings. The president pushed for strengthening law enforcement through proper legal frameworks and institutional support for the police and local government units or LGUs. President Marcos reiterated his administration's decision to ban Philippine offshore gaming operators or POGOs, citing their alleged links to criminal activities. The chief executive said the current administration's focus is on creating legitimate employment opportunities instead of relying on industries with questionable impacts on the country's security and stability. President Marcos also made a case for the Alianza senatorial slate, emphasizing their track record in governance. The Philippine president noted that 8 candidates have previously served in the Senate, 7 in the House of Representatives, 4 in cabinet positions, 3 as governors, and 3 as mayors. The president expressed confidence in the alliance's capability to lead the nation toward a better future. The Alianza ticket is fielding former Interior Secretary Benher Abalos, Makati City Mayor Abby Binay, incumbent Senators Ramon Revilla Jr., Pia Cayetano, Lito Lampid, Amy Marcos, and Francis Tolentino, former Senators Panfilo Lacson, Manny Pacquiao, and Vicente Soto III, and House lawmakers Erwin Tulfo and Camille Villar. They are from the 5 leading political parties, including the Partido Federal ng Pilipinas or PFP, Lakas Christian Muslim Democrats or CMD, Nationalist People's Coalition or NPC, Nacionalista Party or NP, and the National Unity Party or NUP.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine House Speaker Martin Romualdez extended its appreciation to the warm support displayed by Warais or Visayans to President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and the Alianza para sa Bagong Pilipinas or APBP senatorial bets during their campaign in Leyte Province last Friday. Based on data from the Tacloban City Police, around 100,000 people attended the APBP rally in Tacloban City. According to Speaker Romualdez, the solidarity shown by Eastern Visayas is proof of the region's full support to the leadership of President Marcos Jr. Romualdez said, "This is not just a rally. This is a pledge that the administration will continue the reforms needed to strengthen the economy and give Filipinos a better future." The House leader urged voters to support the whole slate of the Alianza that will help the president hasten progress in the country. Romualdez added that their vote will ensure more jobs, better education, and improve public service. Assistant Majority Leader and Tingog Party List Representative Jude Asidre also extended his appreciation to fellow Taclobanon and Leyteño for their show of support to the APBP. He called on voters to help President Marcos get partners from the Senate to realize his wish of a new Philippines wherein no Filipino will be left behind. Asidre added that the intense support is not surprising because they consider the president as a fellow countryman, as his mother, former First Lady Imelda Marcos, hails from Leyte Province.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine House Speaker Martin Romualdez praised Executive Order or EO number 84, approved by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. that raised the daily subsistence allowance of all officers and enlisted personnel of the Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP from 150 pesos to 350 pesos per day. Romualdez said the brave soldiers deserves the raise as they tirelessly defend the country. And this step shows the concrete commitment of the government to improve their welfare and recognize their sacrifices. The House leader assures that this is only the beginning of more initiatives of the government to improve the benefits and support uniformed personnel. Speaker Romualdez said the House will continue to collaborate with the executive to ensure the needs of the AFP. Under EO 84, signed by the President on March 14th and made public on Saturday, the 200 peso increase will be given retroactively beginning January 1st, 2025. EO 84 states that it is imperative to increase the subsistence allowance of all officers and enlisted personnel of the AFP to protect and promote their welfare in recognition of their sacrifices and perseverance in defending and upholding the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Their subsistence allowance was last adjusted in 2015 under Congress Joint Resolution Number 5 issued in the same year. According to EO 84, the current subsistence allowance of the military is no longer adequate to meet the daily sustenance of an active duty soldier, which is essential for their well-being and performance of their duties. The increase will benefit the trainees and probationary second lieutenants or ensigns undergoing military training, citizen military training cadets on a summer camp training and reserve officers, and enlisted reservists undergoing training and assembly or mobilization test, citizen armed force geographical unit, and cadets.
Dateline Malacañang.
In a related story, the Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP considered the approval of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. of the increase of the subsistence allowance to soldiers as a welcome development. According to AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla, the subsistence allowance have long been discussed and approved, and as proof, this is already included in the national budget for this year. Padilla emphasized that the government continues promotion of the welfare of soldiers is proof of their promise to promote their well-being. According to Padilla, this is especially helpful to soldiers in the front line, as well as recognizing their important role to ensure the country's security. Padilla added that the AFP maintains that it has always been its priority to provide adequate support to its personnel as their strength and readiness directly contribute to national security and resilience.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Philippine National Police, or PNP, on Sunday said it would assist anew the International Criminal Police Organization, or Interpol, if arrest warrants are issued against others accused in the International Criminal Court, or ICC, investigation into the Duterte administration's war on drugs. In a radio interview, PNP spokesperson Brigadier General Jean Fajardo said that if ever warrants are issued and the Interpol asks the PNP for help, they are ready to provide assistance and implement the warrant based on their existing laws. The PNP does not have any information yet on possible additional arrest warrants. Former President Rodrigo Duterte, accused of committing crimes against humanity in connection with his anti-illegal drugs campaign, was arrested at the airport upon his return from Hong Kong on March 11th through an ICC-issued arrest warrant. The warrant was received by Interpol Manila and implemented by the PNP. The former leader arrived in The Hague, Netherlands on March 12 and was turned over to the ICC detention center in Scheveningen. Fajardo reiterated that the Philippine government gave Duterte the necessary assistance, including medical services, from the time he was arrested until he was sent to The Hague. Fajardo, meanwhile, denied information circulating on social media that several police officers have resigned in support of Duterte. She said, "These are all fake news. That's why they always appeal to everybody to be discerning and vigilant and not to believe anything they see on social media."
Dateline Malacañang.
The top diplomats of the Group of Seven, or G7, have condemned China's illicit, provocative, coercive, and dangerous actions in the Indo-Pacific as they aired their concern over the harassment against Filipino vessels in the South China Sea, or SCS. A statement released by the United States Embassy in Manila on Saturday said, the G7 expressed concern over the situation in the South China Sea, including the increasing use of dangerous maneuvers and water cannons against Philippine vessels. The G7 foreign ministers, who held a meeting in Charlevoix, Quebec in Canada from the 12th to the 14th of March, also hit efforts to restrict freedom of navigation and overflight through militarization and coercion in the South China Sea, describing these as a violation of international law. The group said the members would cooperate to increase security and resilience across the Indo-Pacific. In a declaration on maritime security during the meeting, the 7 foreign ministers also backed the negotiation of provisional arrangements of a practical nature but did not mention any specific areas. The Philippines and China previously signed a provisional arrangement for the country's unhampered rotation and resupply or RORE missions to the BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal. To this day, Manila said it continues to honor this understanding without prejudice to the country's position over the West Philippine Sea, the Philippine Maritime Zone within the larger South China Sea. The G7 represents the world's leading industrialized democracies, namely Canada, France, the United States, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines Department of National Defense, or DND, announced that the Philippines and Canada have agreed to beef up their cybersecurity cooperation. This came into force after DND officials led by Senior Undersecretary Ireneo Espino met with Canada's cyber envoy, Sammy Corey of the Communications Security Establishment, or CSE, last week to discuss ways to further strengthen the two nations' ties on this vital defensive aspect, according to a news release from the agency. Discussions centered on deepening cybersecurity collaboration, exchanging best practices in policy development, and exploring capacity-building initiatives to enhance cyber defense capabilities. The Canadian delegation also noted upcoming cybersecurity engagements with the Philippines, including a potential visit by the commander of Canada's Cyber Command. Cowrie provided insights into Canada's cybersecurity incident response framework and ongoing national threat assessments, underscoring the importance of proactive measures in mitigating cyber risks. The Canadian and Philippine sides also explored best practices in cyber governance, particularly Canada's approach to consolidating cyber functions under a single agency, the National Cyber Center. Both countries reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening defense and security cooperation, recognizing that a secure and resilient cyberspace is essential to safeguarding national and regional stability. Meanwhile, DND Office for Cyber and Information System Management, or OCISM Director Christine June Carino, emphasized the need to strengthen cyber resilience and enhance information sharing mechanisms to counter evolving cyber threats. She highlighted Canada's National Cyber Threat Assessment as a valuable model for bolstering cybersecurity strategies, particularly in support of the newly established Armed Forces of the Philippines Cyber Command.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 9.475 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.